Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Tangled Up in Books. My name is Yari, and in today's video is going to be my January wrap up and my February and March TBR. So basically what's going to happen is that I'm going to not be grouping my TBRs into 3-month chunks since January passed. This first video is going to be 2 months, and then for the rest of the year it's going to be in 3 months. That way I can have more time to read the books that I set out to read. And, you know, I'm able to actually keep up with my TBR. So, yeah. So that's what's happening. So I'm going to start off with telling you guys the books that I read in January, which are 2 books. So let's get started. So the first book that I read in January was Renegades by Marissa Meyer. So basically this is like a superhero book. This is her first book that isn't a retelling of any sort, and I really enjoyed it. It took me a little bit to really get into it. There was a good chunk. Like the beginning was like pretty good, and then there was like a good little chunk where it was just like, I'm like, okay, can stuff happen now? Like stuff that it says that it happens in like the synopsis. So I'm like, okay, can we get there now? But then once it did, it really got going and it was really good, and I can't wait for the second book and conclusion to this duology to come out later this year. Also, I had a review up on my blog for Renegades, so if you want to check that out, I'll link it down below. Also, if you guys want me to do a video on my thoughts on Renegades, I don't know, you could tell I flagged it. So I have a few thoughts on the book. So if you guys want me to do a review on here and do like a small chunk, like the beginning part be spoiler free and then going to spoiler details with fair warning, of course, let me know in the comments down below. The next book that I read in January, I actually started at the end of January but then finished the beginning of February, so I'm gonna count it for January because I can do whatever I want. And that book is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. So basically one of my reading goals for 2018 is to read or reread books that I read in school. So this I read, I believe, was 7th grade, and that was years ago. So I didn't remember much. I remembered a few like key details of things that happened, but there was some things I couldn't remember. So it was interesting to reread this. Like I said, like some things caught me off guard because I didn't remember. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I completely forgot that happened. But it's a really good book. It's really short. There was a few like points where I'm just like 2 times where it was just like a tiny bit slow. There's a tiny bit slow, and I'm just like, okay, can we, all right. But overall it was a really good book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, it's a really good book. I think this is a good book to read in school. So yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention that I gave Renegades 3.75, I think it was, out of 5 stars on Goodreads. So yeah. So that's all the books that I read in January. And that wasn't, first of all, The Outsider wasn't even on my list for my TBR, but I ended up reading it anyways. And then the next book I'm gonna talk about, I started the end of January as well, but then I didn't finish it in January, and that was actually in my January TBR. So this is why I decided to do my TBRs for 3 months. So it gives me 3 months so I could read all the books on my list. And you know, I'm not stressing out like I need to read this before the end of this month. This gives me more time, especially because I'm a pretty slow reader and it takes me a good bit sometimes to get really good into books. So yeah. So the first book that I started in January, and it's flowing into my February and March TBR, that is Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. It's a reimagining of the evil queen from Snow White. It's It's set in China, I believe, yes. Um, Carlene, the other half of Temple Books, is like sending me things on Instagram. So yeah, this is a reimagining of the Evil Queen story from Snow White. I'm on page 79 out of 363. Okay, guys, I'm starting this new thing where, because I always want to know how many pages are in a book, but then I don't want to spoil myself. So if I always keep looking, I always forget how many pages are in the book that I'm currently reading. So what I'm doing now is I'm only looking at it once, checking how many pages it is, and putting up a little post-it, and then putting down how many pages are in the book. So anytime I'm like, wait, how many pages does this book have again? I just go right there, see it, and I don't have to go to the back of the book and risk getting spoiled about something. So yeah, that's my little trick now. So yeah, back to Forest Without the Lantern. So yeah, I'm on what did I say? Page 79. I'm really enjoying it so far. I have the audiobook from Overdrive, so while I'm reading the book, I'm listening to the audiobook as well. I really enjoy reading books like that, because like I said, I'm a slow reader, so that helps me get through books a little quicker. So yeah, that's Forest of a Thousand Lanterns. The next book on my list is a book that hasn't come out yet. This next book is coming out on February 13th, and it is by my favorite author, Sophie Kinsella, and that book, it surprised me. So I'll put a picture right here since it's not out yet. So basically, surprised me, chick lit. That's what Sophie Kinsella is pretty much known for. A short synopsis is there's a story about a married couple who've been married for a few years, and they know they're gonna be together for a good amount of years after the 10 years already been together. So they want to make sure that they're keeping their marriage interesting, and and for it not to get dull. So they decide to give each other surprises, but then a few things happen that they didn't expect. That they find out a few things that they didn't know about each other, and things start to stir up. So that's pretty much a little synopsis of it. If you want to know a little bit more, I talk about it in my anticipated books of 2018. So I'll put a card wherever. I'll put a card and you could check out that video, so you can see what the books that I'm excited for, and that book is on the list. So you can see a little bit more of a synopsis for the book. I'm really excited about this book. Like I said, she's my favorite author, so I always can't wait to read her newest release. Now, the next book on my list is, I'm pretty sure it's on a lot of people's February TBR. It's because the Disney movie adaptation for this book is coming out on March 9th. And that book is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle. I don't know much of the synopsis of the book. I just pretty much know a little bit from the trailer. The movie trailer is that the main character's father goes missing, and there's some sort of, I guess, experiments with time, and I don't really know much, but I love Disney movies, so I wanted to watch the movie. So of course I had to read the book before watching the movies, obviously. And it's a children's book, so it shouldn't take me too long, and the font's really big, so it shouldn't take me long to read. I'm super excited to read this book. Carlene already started it, and she says she's really enjoying it so far, so I can't wait to get to this book. Now, the last book on my list is, I have it on hold from the library, and they need to get on it because they just need to get on it because it's a new release, and they should have already sent them out, and they ordered more books than there are holds, so everybody should have the books already, but whatever. Anyways, that book is, I'm gonna put a picture here since I don't have the book yet. That is Zenith by Sasha Osberg and Linton Cummings. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I wasn't planning on reading this book, but I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about this book, so I was like, I'm intrigued. Kind of person where it's just like when people are when they're saying crazy things about something, I'm like, oh, I'm actually don't want to know. I want to be in the know. So like I said, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about this book, so I it intrigued me, so I'm like, I wanna see what it's about, like, and see like what people are saying about it is true or not, or like what's the deal. But yeah, but that being said, I do think that it's really cool that because Sasha Alsberg, I'm sure you all know, is a really big booktuber. She's like a really big booktuber. So I think it's really cool that they decided to write a book together. Lindsay Cummings, and Lindsay Cummings. It's already a published book. She is actually the author of The Murder Complex, Lindsay Cummings. And I think that their story and how they decided to write this book, and what's the duology, how they decided to write this book, and how they self-published at first, and like the whole story, I think is really interesting. If you want, you guys could check out, because Lindsay Cummings also has a YouTube channel, and she posted a video. I think my hair is doing crazy things. She posted a video of their Zenith book tour. It's like a little documentary, and she talks about like the process a little bit of going from self-published, and like everything that happened leading up to this book tour and the release of the book. I really enjoyed the video, and yeah, so if you guys want to check it out, it was a really good video, and I think these two people are really cool, and I think that their story is pretty awesome. So yeah, so that's it. That's all the books that I've read in January, and everything that I'm planning on reading between February and the end of March. Please let me know in the comments down below what you guys are reading in February or in March, or whatever, like what you're currently reading. I really want to know. So like always, all of our social media links will be linked downstairs, and don't forget to subscribe. It really means so much to us when you guys subscribe, and please like this video if you liked it, if you enjoyed it, and yeah, so everything that I mentioned in this video, any links will be linked downstairs. And thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in our next video. So yeah, bye.